Prosperity, peace, and love to all my brothers and sisters. I hope all is well. I hope you're doing all right. It has been a while. I've been doing a lot of stuff. But there's this particular message that I've been fighting with. There are days when you really don't want to talk about certain things because you know how they are perceived in society. But Spirit says I should share this. Okay. So this whole talk about aliens and flying discs and aliens in the water and all this, Spirit reminded me about something, and this memory I've always had. These beings were always here. These beings never left. It's not that they are now back. They never left. They were always here, and we used to see them. It's just that we were refused to talk about them. Sometime in the early 80s, when we were young, for me when I was young, there was a lot of information from parents. They were consistently counseling us and telling us not to talk about these things. Don't see them, even when they come, even when you see them, walk away, don't listen to them, don't talk to them, don't even tell your friends about them. We are not supposed to communicate with them anymore. There was a lot of preaching against these entities. Okay? Because now, let me tell you two memories that I really remember. And this, I wasn't even 7. I wasn't yet 7. Okay? There was a time I was staying with a relative. Okay? So in the evening, I was sitting outside. They were staying like in a gated community, a couple of houses all together. So in the evening, about 7ish, I was sitting outside in the veranda with a girl next door who was around my age and a cousin of that girl. The cousin she used to help them at home. She was maybe around 15, 16. She was a big teenager. So as we're seated, we see a craft, buzzes over, and it passes with a lot of light, And when it passed very quickly, we started talking about it. And then quickly, this girl, I remember her reminding us that you're not supposed to talk about these things. You're not even supposed to tell people about them. Let your parents know. Let your aunties not know. She was telling me that let your auntie not even know that you saw it. While she was still warning us, me and that other little girl, it passed again. And we saw it again. And I remember thinking, oh, they are so nice. I like when they come. Why are they refusing us from talking about them? And last time that I remember seeing them, I had gone somewhere with my mom. And we were visiting her friend. And so she used to stay in a block, like a flat block. So somewhere, maybe second, third floor. We are seated in the house. And I'm looking through the window. I'm a child, I was looking through the window. And I could see, like, there was a field next to the block of flats. And so I was looking at the field, and I saw a flying disc. And I saw it. And I saw it, and it was buzzing over the field. And I looked at it, and I kept thinking, I can't even tell them that I'm seeing it. I remember thinking that. And then my aunt sees me. So she looks at where I'm looking. She sees what is distracting me. Then she turns to my mom and says, do you know what Sarah is looking at? So my mom comes, looks, and then says, you know what you're supposed to do. Don't go back. When we go back home, you're not going to go and start telling your friends that you saw them. You're not even supposed to look at them. Next time when you see them, don't even look, And they made me look away. And I remember it was such a big deal, and she looked at me badly. Why are you still doing this? We have already told you you're not supposed to look at those things. You're not even supposed to think about them. I remember being told that. Okay? Now, Spirit has been reminding me of something. And for me, there's a lot of information that sometimes we can't really understand how it comes. But these entities still do talk to us. You see, because we were told not to talk about them, not to see them, not to have any kind of communication with them, over time, we stopped seeing them in actual sense. And think about it. There are many things which maybe you know as a person, and when they tell you that we don't talk about that don't discuss that, don't talk about it, don't even think about it, over time you forget it. And remember that these people, not only do they physically tell you that don't talk about it, don't discuss it, they also do it in your spirit. They go to the spiritual side and they tell you not to talk about it, and they tell you how they will punish you if you talk about it. And if you're a child, over time you block this stuff out. So these entities never left. These entities were always here, and us, we used to see them. Us, the lions, we used to see them a lot, and we used to get communication with them a lot. And this information would always be passed on to society through us. But they made us stop communicating with them, and they made it seem like it's an alien. These are not even really aliens. For me, I don't think they're aliens. I mean, if they're always here with us, and they were giving us information, and they helped bring things to balance. And I know people may think that it's long ago, but it's really not. Life has really become a mess these last couple of years, if you think about it. Okay? And Spirit reminded me of something also. During those times, when I was a kid, there were times when elders would have meetings. And like grandparents, I remember this particular one event. My grandfather is there, my grandmom, some uncles and aunties. And my uncle, I have an uncle, and he was in the RPF army, and later he died in the Liberation Army. But this uncle, when I was young, I remember that time, he came for me outside. I was playing with the other cousins. He came, he called me, I came, I sat on his lap, and then they told me something. They told me an issue that was ongoing, and I gave them advice. And the Spirit is reminding me that the reason why I could do this is because I still had that, I could tap into those entities, and they could give me information. Okay? And so I would give the elders this information that way. They would tell me, and then somehow these entities would give me this information, and then I would pass it on. And they knew it. And they knew that I had that ability. Okay? So we always knew these entities, and they always helped us along. They always kept things in balance. That's what they tell me. Okay? And we were just made to think of them as alien, as not being part of us. And so over time, we just blocked them out. But they're actually there. Okay? And so Spirit told me to tell you, we may start seeing them. We may start seeing them, because as much as we don't know, we have been listening to them. They have been talking to us, and we've been listening to them. Okay? So I don't know whether that's what we call spiritual guides. I don't know whether that's what we've been calling our ancestors. I haven't maybe yet reached the part where I get that information. But these beings have always been with us. Okay? So it's not something new. It's not something to be alarmed about. But we have always had them. And the reason why no one is talking about aliens in Africa is because maybe for us we don't perceive them as aliens, or it's also because most of us, as we were told to forget about them and not talk about them, it is somehow a big part of us. Because sincerely, I've wanted to make this video for maybe a month, but somehow I kept thinking, how am I going to talk about this? But today morning I woke up and I thought, you know what, let me just talk about it as it is. And then I'm sure somebody out there is probably struggling with this same kind of feeling, whether they remember it, whether they are not sure. So you know what? We knew these entities were there. We used to communicate with them. They used to give us information. And they are still giving us information. They are still a big part of us. We just haven't really understood them. But they are there. And they will show themselves to us. So just, if it happens, don't be too alarmed. Don't block them out. Don't continue to block them out. Allow them to communicate with us, and they will just teach us more about life generally. Yeah. So that was my message this morning. Yeah. They are not really alien. They are part of who we are. Okay. So have a brilliant day.